Factors that limit BAME female students to choose engineering careers in the UK. We are Team 9. Me, Lu Yao, is representing at the beginning, and my colleagues Harris, Judith, and Shi Yu will continue after me. While women make up about 47% of the total workforce, they are underrepresented in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics at only 29%. Black, indigenous, Hispanics, and Latinx women collectively make up only 4.87% of the STEM workforce, and women earn a yearly average of $15,000 less than men. This gender disparity is alarming, especially as STEM careers are often referred to as the jobs of the future, driving innovation, social well-being, inclusive goals, and sustainable development. A higher gender disparity in STEM education causes a lower participation of women in professional fields. So we concentrate on limited factors in educational field, using transformative entrepreneurship to reduce the negative impact in order to have more opportunities for women to engage in STEM education, which is defined as equality in prosperity aspect. To better illustrate this issue, we have chosen to study engineering majors that are representative of the research because of significant data differences. According to that, we want to investigate 3 main points. First, what are the factors that limit BAME females to choose engineering careers at tertiary level education? Which one of the factors has a higher negative impact on females, and what is the specific impact factor? The third is, how can we address the gender engineering education gap in tertiary level through a transformative entrepreneurship approach? Investigating the roots of women's underrepresentation in engineering, which is included in STEM, is a story of stereotypes, a gender-socialized belief system, and a lack of role models. Transformative entrepreneurship is a positive means for social change and can promote public goals in the community. We believe that the potential of transformative entrepreneurship can help us to address the gender STEM gap in tertiary level education by increasing and inspiring more women to embrace engineering career choices.
So I'll briefly talk about some of the research process and how we went about the research process. So as you can see, the research roadmap is in front of you. We first presented the proposal to our module tutors, and then we sort of got the submission and the feedback about the proposal. Then we did the literature review around this topic, and then we moved on to designing the surveys and incorporating the feedbacks and learnings that we got from stage 2. And stage 5, we collected data and did some data analysis. And in stage 6, we produced the films and submission of the documents. So a brief dissection of the tasks we did through a Gantt chart. As you can see, we have some tasks there, and some we divided them over 5 weeks. So week 1 had research proposal, week 2 had proposal submission and feedback and literature review, and so on and so forth. And then we sort of did the survey feedback, literature review, and simultaneously. So literature review was sort of guiding our survey feedbacks, and as we got more insights from literature feedback, we sort of introduced it into our surveys. And then on to the next
methodology that we applied was quantitative for secondary and primary data collection. Next, please. We extracted the literature review and data from UCL Library Online and well-renowned institution websites. We curate and transform this data, and according to this data, there are 3 factors that limit BAME female students to choose engineering career: personal factors, environmental factors, and behavioral factors that we can see in this table. We find a gap in the secondary data because these factors have not been measured together before to determine which one has the most influence on women, whether positively or negatively, and what is the ranking of influence of these factors on women. Next, please. The current secondary data just explained that of 100% of STEM students, currently just 35% are women, but of these 35% of women, just 19% are women studying computer science and 3% are women studying technology. But if we dig deeper, of the whole percentage of the students, just 2% are women in engineering technology. Now let's jump to our primary data collection, please. We build our survey structure from scratch in Jot4 platform, in online and in person. But the problem was that we struggled with to find women students to answer the survey because there are not many women studying engineering, and also because our survey included sensitive data. So we decided to talk verbally with women in person or via WhatsApp about the ethics and consent form by offering an incentive like 4 free ebooks to download in exchange to they answer the survey. As a result, we got 34 surveys from 6 England universities. To collect this data, we use our professional network, and we store all this process in Google Drive. Now, let's jump to the results analysis, please. Finally, the women to choose to study engineer are single, between 20 to 30 years old, the majority, and come from all middle family size and middle income to high middle income. And the majority of participants find support in the universities, but they don't find support in their government. Next, please. And particularly, the behavioral factor has the major influence and negative impact on women that limit their growth. The personal factor has the major influence and positive impact on women that encourage them. A great example of this is their self-esteem is better since they are studying engineering, but more than 60% of women find difficult getting a job, starting a tech company, getting a promotion, getting income rise, achieve a good career prospects. And overall, the majority of women think that their friends, family, and teachers do not think that women perform as well in engineers fields. To summarize, what motivates those women to study engineering is because they have clear personal goals and aspirations, want to earn a high income salary, and want to prove women can excel in engineering field, despite they didn't have role models and toys that encourage them in their childhood.
For limitation and future research, there are some evidence. First, there are an efficient number of young girls enrolled in STEM subjects at high school education because girls at that age prefer social science like language, social studies, humanities, or economics rather than STEM. So why girls prefer those subjects instead of STEM subjects can be discussed in the future. Secondly, the disruption of new technologies can further inhibit the demand for female labor and reduce the relative wages of the tasks that women perform. The so-called fourth revolution could further displace the role of women in the labor force, warned the International Monetary Fund. Why technology is affecting more women disproportionately more is a great topic for further study. Also, that earlier STEM education in girls could contribute to inspire them to embrace STEM career choices and develop their technological skills because they gain confidence, agency, and tools to question key issues in the world and propose solutions to solve such problems. But these solutions is not enough because there are still less women in STEM career. The future research can focus on what solutions we need to address this gap efficiently. A new study explores a strange paradox. In countries that empower women, they are less likely to choose math and science professions. It could have to do with the fact that women in countries with higher gender inequality are simply seeking the clearest possible path to financial freedom. So future research can be why the more gender equality, the fewer women in STEM, and what explains the tendency for nations that have traditionally less gender equality to have more women in science and technology than their gender possessive counterparts do.
To sort of brief us about on how we went about the process, so we here we can see root cause diagram. So we see some causes of and then those causes lead to different effects. So for example, the community infrastructure is not that good to support BAME students in getting into STEM, or they have unpaid domestic roles. So they had this preconceived notion that STEM education is not good for them, or there are different decision-making regimes in their households, which sort of affects all these and students not getting into BAME. So this is a root cause diagram which we sort of did initially and sort of guided us into the process. So some of the concluding remarks are the ethics form, which my colleagues explained. The form was clearly stated, the description in the form was clearly stated of how the data would be used, and they were more fully aware of it. We offered 4 very relevant incentives to the people who were participating in our surveys. The 4 major books that were handed out were very relevant. They were named NASA First Woman in Space, Good Night Stories for Rebel Girls, I Am Malala, and Woman in Tech. And some of the challenges we faced was it was hectic at first to find a good amount of participants for our research project. And to counter this, we used our incentives and personal network, Chevening network, our foundation network, and some of our friends in our UCL engineering department. And I would like to mention this is still a pilot survey, so we are still getting more responses, and our response base and user base is still growing. But given the time constraints of this research project submission, we sort of had to cap it and move with the data that we had gotten. These are some of the references and evidences that we used in our research project. And lastly, but not the least, I would like to invite anyone who would, like to collaborate with us in this research project. They can reach out to us on these following emails. We will be more than happy to collaborate with you in this research project and to carry it forward and to sort of increase BAME participation in STEM fields. Thank you. This is all from group number 9.